Hello everybody, it's Olivia here, and I would like to welcome you all to the podcast in the frame of the project Female Perspectives on the Democratic Transitions of the 1970s, 1980s and 1990s. In this case, our episodes are going to be focused on what happened in Spain in that period. The history of Spain is kind of complicated since the democratic transition started once the dictatorship ended with the death of the dictator Franco in 1975. So we have interviewed 5 women that have shared with us their stories. Some of them will be speaking in English and the other in Spanish. And when we listen to them, we can understand how a society like the Spanish one can change and move forward into democracy and liberty. These women were asked several questions like any democratic or resistant action that they faced during the 80s and the 90s in Spain, and they shared many interesting things. So let's say that these subversive voices are all marked by a feminist perspective, and I think they will all provide many answers and lessons to learn from. In this first episode, our colleague Santi is going to take the role of the hoster, and he will be asking the question to our 2 first guests, Anna and Elena. So let's listen what they have to say and everything they have to share with us.
So we are in our project that are with the voices of the women in the democracy and transition time, and today we have a really special invite person that is Anna. Welcome, Anna.
Hello.
And we can begin with our podcast, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go. So, please, Anna, can you briefly tell us who you are and what is your personal context?
Well, my name is Ana Ibáñez. I was born in 1971 and I grew up in Andalusia. My family was middle class and their origins were conservative. My mom was a housewife and my father was a worker. They were not so religious, but our lifestyle was traditional. I was studying the university for being librarian, and I have been working in my own business after I really found my passion, acting in theater. I get married very young, and after I split it with this couple, and afterwards, with a stable couple but not marrying, we have a kid. Nowadays, I'm single again, working at the same time in a regular job and also making artistic works.
Let's go for the second question. How did you live the transition, thinking that in Spain maybe it's something different, like in Europe? Thinking that the transition in Spain is from Franco's death, 1975 to 1981. So maybe we can focus about how your family lived this moment.
Well, the origin of my family was conservative, like I told you after. Mm-hmm. But my parents were totally agree for the opening and the democracy.
Nice. And did you, as a kid, realize all those changes that was happening and what was happening with the family and so on, or not?
Well, I have some few memories. I remember that my parents told me, we go for a meeting.
I have to clarify that the meeting, when we say meeting in Spanish, it's like a political speech, that
Yes.
the people goes for a political speech.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the happy mood of coming to democracy. Even more, I only realized it that the people felt more free to express themselves without fear.
Mm-hmm.
I also remembered that the people was afraid to come back to the dictatorship. And sometimes there was news about problems in demonstrations and also in another political events.
Oh my God. And yeah, we are talking about women, this democracy moment, and so on. Did your mother vote? I mean, our first voting moment was in 1977. Did your mother vote it?
Yes, of course. And she was very proud and happy to have this right.
Nice. And yeah, there was another issue that was really important, or event that was really important, or really like shocked our society, our Spanish society in 1981. That was they tried to do a coup of Athens and to try to put again the dictatorship. That was in February of that year. You were 10 years old, but do you have any? Yeah, how do you remember that moment that they tried to do this?
Yes, I saw my family very nervous and worried. My grandma was very afraid. I remember that TV was with news all the day and all the night because when I was child, there was no TV in the night.
Uh-huh.
The next day we were to the school, but almost all the pupils didn't assist to the school.
Okay. So let's move and have your experience any key action or resistance or democratic action during the 80s or the 90s in Spain?
In that time, the freedom was very implemented in our lives. So we knew that we were totally allowed of expressing ourselves, have freedom, also have the right for voting. That's why I voted during my university time.
So then you were doing your right also, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
During my... I like to tell you something. During my internship, that is the first job for a student.
Yeah, this that the people that doesn't pay so much for the
No,
student. Yeah,
exactly.
few amounts of money.
Yes. So I realized that that me as a woman and even all the women had to demonstrate every moment your professional value, to be respected in the same level as a man.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And where is the struggle of women in your life story or in another stories that are less known? Do you have?
Oh, well, in my generation, I felt that we didn't really struggle so much. But there was a lot of little acts of changes. It could be called like conquest, like show or our sexual freedom, get a civil married, not religious, or even live with your partner, having kids without being married.
Yeah, little revolutions.
Little revolutions.
If I tell to you the future is feminine, but the past is also feminine, what is suggest to you this even in the Spanish context or in the European context?
I think we cannot understand women nowadays if we don't know who our women were in the past. Actually, I am performing in a play theater where we tell some stories about women in the Franco's time to make that the new generations become aware all the rights that we get in the transition time, and hopefully we will never lose.
What is the name of this theater play?
Muñecas, dolls.
Muñecas, doll. I really
Yes.
would like to.
Yes.
Are you performing nowadays?
Yes.
So I would like to go one time to see this theater play.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think about that we can learn from these subversive voices?
I think we must to be grateful for all these subversive voices that fight for us freedom, and never forget there is always exist the risk of losing these rights. So we always must to have a critical and constructive attitude.
Nice. Yeah, we have talked a lot, or you were like telling to me, yeah, like giving some answers from some questions. Is coming to you any anecdote that maybe come to your mind? Would you like to share like some stories or something that is coming from what you live or your family and so on?
Yes. I have two stories about my mother.
Yeah.
To compare the life of women during the dictatorship of Franco's and the life of a woman in the democracy time.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
My mother decided not to do the sección femenina. That is, it was a religious voluntary service only for women that the dictatorship invented to create perfect housewives.
Oh my God.
Yes. So she couldn't get a driving license until she get married, and her husband gave her the legal permission to get it.
Oh my God. Yeah. You were not allowed to have your freedom and your own decisions in some things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And the second story is about birth control.
Aha.
My mother, after 2 babies, wanted not to have more kids. And she asked to the priest,
Yeah.
in the church,
Oh my God.
if she could use contraceptives. And the priest gets very angry with her. Fortunately, in the democracy time, she had free access to the contraceptives.
So in this case, there is a happy ending.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you a last question that is coming to my mind. That is, it is not on the script, but I would like to add. If the Anna from the nowadays, like 2023, talked with the Anna that was very young and was having like the very beginning of the moment of adult, like around 1820s, what the actual Anna tells to the youngest one?
Interesting. I would tell her, please try to get your own and personal goals and not get the ones that the society, your partner, family push to your life. And not shut up anything and speak up.
Wow. Thank you, Anna. And this is all our podcast. Thank you for your contribution and for your answers.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we are now on the podcast that is giving voice to the woman in the transition time in Europe, in the 80s, 90s. And we have a special guest today, that is Elena Sanchez. Elena, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
For having me.
We're happy to having you.
I'm quite happy, but a little bit nervous. But I hope to share something interesting with you.
Can you introduce yourself? Yeah. Tell us who you are, and maybe introduce your personal context.
Well, yes. My name is Elena. I'm coming from Andalusia, which is a region in the south of Spain. I'm 39 years old, and my family background is middle class. My father was working since he was maybe 12 years old, and my mom, she's housewife, and yeah, I have two brothers, a brother and a sister. They are 10 years older than me and 9. So in that time, they were born already in the transition time, but I'm the smaller one. Now I'm a high school teacher, so I'm quite happy about it, but I have studied tourism in the university. But later on, I did some voluntary work around Europe using these programs, and they really changed my life and my perspective about many things.
The topic of the project is about the transition. Thinking that the transition, I mean, maybe in Spain is on the 70s, 80s, but we are thinking that this European program, that's why we are thinking that transition in Europe is in the 80s, 90s. May I ask you how you live this transition? Maybe we can focus more in the experience of your family.
Yeah. So, for example, I can add, for example, in my school was a school from the Franco time. So it was a school where they were just boys, male. And in my moment, in the time that I went to the school, we were 33 boys and 9 girls. So you can have a picture how my hometown was. We felt weird to be in a school with so less girls. But in the other hand, this helps me to approach men like a human being, because some friends of mine, they were not having friends, like male friends, until we were teenagers, and they approached them just with a romantic purpose. So this was something maybe that I can say from that time, because now in my school, I did my practices last year, and it is balance, finally, gender balance. And yeah, for example, with the religion, my mom is very religious. She was pregnant before getting married to my dad, so she was struggling a lot. She was not permitted to marry my dad like in a normal ceremony with everyone and having this white costume as we used to. So they decided to have a private wedding, the two of them, with the two witnesses. And I knew that with 17 years old for accident. They haven't told me because they were felt ashamed about it. So I knew because a friend of my dad told me accidentally. And in my grandma's house, there were pictures of all my family weddings, less my parents. And every time I ask my grandma, how my parents don't have a wedding picture? And she will say, because your mother doesn't like the way she was dressed. And she gave me that.
Oh, God.
But it was actually the wedding picture of my parents.
But with normal clothes.
Yeah, I mean, like Sunday clothes, the fancy
Smart
one,
clothes.
but blue, not white. So these are two examples, maybe, of my family in that moment.
It's very traditional, the corner of Spain that you come from.
Yeah.
And as you say, you were a child, and it was a transition time, but it was like a lot of examples of how was changing little by little Spain and so on. Yeah, let's move. You were a child. Did you maybe experience any resistance or democratic action during the 80s or the 90s? Maybe you not, or maybe some people that you know.
Well, Yeah, personally, I don't remember, sure. But for example, I know in my hometown, the first association ruled by women was created in the latest 70s. And it's called, Association of Women from my hometown, ESIHA. So I'm very proud about this because they were trying to change things. But in the other hand, because they were more left side women. And traditionally, we have those associations like, to make handcrafts or sailing. These were the places for women in that time. Or my mother was visiting people with cancer, like caring other people, or these housewives trips. This was very common. So to me, this is not a resistance itself, but give them the freedom and the place to meet. Because I remember as a child having many trips with my mother by bus, and we were just women from many different hometowns, towns, sorry, and they were having fun. They were without their husbands, and they were felt free to share their time and their,
it's like
free time that they were not used to.
Yeah, kind of empowerment.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, this was, something very small but significant because many mothers of my friends, they were not doing anything without the husband, anything at all. So I grew up knowing that, my mother is traditional, but she was doing many things without my father.
She was
Going to the theater or to paint, to do this, that with her friends, women friends. So I wanted that when I grew up. So this is not resistance, but maybe yes, but very quietly. I don't know. But yeah. And now we have in my hometown one association, and they were really doing things and helping women. They have some domestic violence or empowering them to create their own business. So they have really a net. So yeah, but still many work to do.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, thank you. Let's move. What is the struggle of woman in your, maybe not in your life story, but maybe in your family or in the people that is around you? Or maybe there is like some stories about women that you want to tell us that maybe it's not very known.
Wow. Well, for some, it came to my mind, like without thinking too much, a part of what I shared before about the religion and my mom, blah, blah, blah. For example, I have two cousins. They are lesbians. So this was something also when we were a child that it was totally hide. I knew that my cousin was lesbian when we went to the university because she sit down with me and she told me, I want to tell you something. And I was crying a lot because we were playing every single day. We live in a flat, one above the other. And I knew always she never told me about boys that she liked it, but we were very childish. We don't care about boys so much, even me. But I say, you must felt very lonely in all our childhood because, of course, I have friends, boys, that they have the same situation. They were gay. But, for lesbian is even harder. And and I have just not one, two cousins in my family. So I'm happy that they came out of the closet, even if it was very hard because my family is conservative and their parents are old, really old. My uncle is almost 90. So you can imagine my cousin.
Oh, God.
And but this came also because I really think I have a gay uncle with almost 90 years old. And he's really into the closet, but I know he's gay. but he's not accepting this. So it's not about the woman, it's about showing the person that you are. I think we are healing this bound in my family, expressing our sexuality freely. For example, I don't know, my grandma, she was a worker. So she was not a woman who was in her house because she lost his father when she was very, very young, and her mother was working, selling, how to say, rings on jewelry. She didn't know even to write or read, but she was supporting her family.
Economically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
great.
they were not support for anyone. So my grandma was the mother of her brothers and sisters, and she was working as soon as she could. They were really working inside of the house, outside, but nobody saw this or appreciate that.
Now we are giving a little recognition in this podcast. It's a
Yeah, I'm
nice-
really glad because my father always tell me his stories about his grandma. Like he's very proud of her because is this she didn't know how to read or how to write, and it's crazy. But this is happening in many parts of the world right now. So we have many work to do yet still.
Yeah. You are telling to me that the past is totally feminine because you were telling to me they were supporting your family and so on. But I mean, if I give into you like one sentence that is the future is feminine, but also the past is also feminine, it's coming to you anything in your mind that maybe inspire you or
Many things, but I mean, sure, the future has to be feminine, or there is no other way. We need this recognition. We need this equality. We really need this right to be the way we want and to be with the people we want. Have the same possibilities to have a decent life. And me as a teacher now, I can see there's still some jobs that there are more from women than from men. I will love this is changing, but for that we need to role models. We need to see those people, like scientists, or this is very stereotypical maybe, but I really believe. I have two nieces, and I try always to give them the view that they can. It's not like the American dream, but they can try. Maybe later on they don't want to be the thing they decide, but try it because we have the chance, and my mother doesn't have any chance, or my grandma, or my the mother of my grandma. So. I think we have to take this chance, and for sure the future is female.
There is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And not to forget the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. What do you think that we can learn from the subversive voices?
Everything. Because if you stay in the status quo, nothing is gonna change. And as we were saying, many things are changing because somebody decide this was not right. These women, for example, who create the association in my hometown and decide to meet, probably they were not, some people were not happy with that. But they did, and now many people is they join them, and they are doing things. So, sure, we cannot stay passive. This is the thing that I feel with some young people, that they told me, Elena, but this is the way it is. We cannot change. And I say, come on, you are 20 years old. You cannot think like that. You are the future. We need you. We need your commit. But And this is something also coming from the system that makes you think you don't have power. But we are here doing projects, putting people together. So this is kind of the movement for this subversive change, no? I want to believe. No sé.
I have one story that now I'm remembering when, we are friends and we were working together in our first job.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And there was a moment we were really, really young. And there was a moment that they were judging us using the internet in a non-productive way. And they were like, they tried to punish us in a hotel. And I was like just asking and try to explain, hey, we don't do it. And I totally remember your subversive voice, like, hey, you treat me like you have done without doubts and so on. And now we have shown that we were not the people that was using in a not proper way. It was another people, but because we were young, it was supposed to be us. And you were like, hey, you didn't treat me well, so then I'm not gonna talk with you anymore until the moment that I will forget that you were judging me.
So this happened. We were 21. Yeah. It was my first job. And we were giving everything from us. We were animators in a hotel all the day long there. And this guy came to us to blame us.
Yep, totally.
Of course, I stood up and I say, no, man. Yeah, but this is the way Santi and me, I always say when something is not fair. It gave me many problems. Actually, I'm subversive, I can say somehow, because my mother was saying this to me when I was a child. Like, Shara, you don't have to say everything. Stay calm. But when I see something this is to me is not fair, I will say.
Yeah.
Because this was not fair. And finally we find the guy.
Yeah.
So we find, and he came to apologize. I mean, I don't know if it's subversive, but don't follow don't take the blame if it's not yours.
Yeah.
Or, oh, thank you for taking
this
memory.
I don't know. I was like, just remembering that there was, for me it was like a very nice example of, wow, look, empowerment. I want to be like so clear and so brave like.
Well, sometimes it's not it's not so nice, but thank you.
Yeah. I mean, normally it's struggling also when you do this because you have to face like some conflicts or discussions and so on, and that sometimes people think don't bother.
No, I remember in the school when I was a kid, every time that happened something to someone, I was there. And I was just a girl, like normal. But I didn't want nobody to be hard. So, I have many problems for that. But I prefer that to just watch if they were, humiliating someone and just clapping hands. No, man. Because it can be you. I mean, probably it will be you some moment in your life. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe we can go for the last question.
Oh.
And maybe after, if you want to add something, it is also possible.
I feel like I say many things.
So, maybe it's coming to you any anecdote or feel free to share something that is coming to your mind during the conversation, and maybe you say,
about the transition, about being woman?
About whatever. I mean...
Oh, wow. Well, for example, something that I'm feeling these days is about, this necessity to be in a couple still in our days. Because, as I say before, I'm starting a new job and they want to know about my life. my students, and they were really interested in knowing if I have kids, husband, wife, whatever. And this is my personal life, and I was like, yeah, why not? But it was really like demanding me this information. So I decided to say, yeah, I'm dating someone, but I wanted to give the message that you don't really need to be with someone to be happy. But I feel sometimes the pressure to be with someone in the age I got, that is almost 40, to feel fulfilled woman or to have kids nowadays. And this shocked me because when I was a child, I pictured my future that I will be an independent woman, and it's what I am. But some people still demanding me, you are sure you don't want to have kids? Because, the time is passing and this is your last chance. Or discussing with my friends many times about this. And and in the end, many people is getting the same path. And I don't want to.
I mean, there is a lot of people like following like the rules that it is.
But it's not a question to be subversive or not. It's like a choice.
Yeah.
No, and sometimes I feel that my choice is not good for people, and they were asking me, but I don't ask them why you decide to have a family, why you decide to stay forever in a job that doesn't fulfill you. But when you do something different that is supposed to not be so different, man. But you have to put, to how to say, to give more information to the others. So to me and to my students and teenagers, I really tried then to be surrounded of good people who loves you, to treat you well. And the romantic things are really nice, but they are not the center of your life, because in the end, if you go to this way, you put all your happiness in one person, which is not, I don't believe that. And but with teenagers, it's still, we have to
challenging,
work.
No?
Because they really want you to have a couple and family, otherwise. Of course, I have to say, there are many teenagers that are much more aware and open-minded than we were with that age. And I love them, that they tell me, I am bisexual or this or that. And I love them, and they express themselves, and they give me hope. Now we are analyzing toys because it's Christmas. Some advertisements are the same that I got when I was a child. Nenuco, 40 years. 40 years of Nenuco, carrying babies for 45. And I was like, come on. This has to change. If we still giving this message, no.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But step by step.
Yeah, little by little. So I don't know if you want to like add something to say bye, or if there is something that you miss that you want to add. Yeah.
I would like to add. I was reading a book about the female singers, like sing copla. I don't know in English. We will say flamenco for people to understand, but it's not. Flamenco is related to pain mostly, and these songs were really showing the moment of the history that they were living. And to me, this book, I haven't finished yet, but really enriched my perspective as a female woman from Andalusia. And there is another about Andalusian feminist women that I'm going to have for Christmas. Because also depends of your region, or in our case, in Andalusia, we have a different perspective. And we were how to say, kind of exotic for the people of the rest of the country, but they also think that we were less for the way we talk with our accent, like we have less culture or studies, or because we were poorer than other regions. So I really feel that we have to give this homenaje, recognition to those women, because now I have my university studies on this, but these women were doing really a lot with no resources. I love to get to know more for them, and that some people decide to study that period. So yeah, this is happening for the people who want to know.
Great. So thank you, Elena, for sharing.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, I mean, I can presume that you were making some recognitions for some women that maybe didn't have before, and you were giving like their voice in your voice. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast is produced in the scope of the project Female Perspectives on the Democratic Transitions in the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s. The project is co-financed by the European Union. Views and opinions expressed are, however, those of the authors only and do not necessarily reflect those of the European Union or EACA. Neither the European Union nor the granting authority can be held responsible for them.